Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, the Forestry Division delighted with the pace of post-Maria reforestation. Regulations enforcing mandatory wearing of face masks expected to be gazetted this week. And a new primary school for Wesley to avoid potential noise and other structural impact from the international airport. The details of the news coming up.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
First up in the news, more heavy rain was experienced on Tuesday. That follows a flood watch which went into effect for Dominica from noon on Monday to midday on Tuesday. Apparently, some communities have been experiencing the impact of the anticipated showers on Tuesday. At the time Monday's forecast was issued, rainfall accumulations of 65.8 millimeters had already been recorded across the northeastern sections of the island overnight. The projection was for showers and thunderstorm activity to continue. Unstable conditions were projected to linger across the area throughout most of the week. Forestry officials pleased with the level of reforestation 3 years after Hurricane Maria. Andrea Louis explains.
The Category 5 storm stripped Dominica of its forest cover in 2017, leaving the land bare and barren. Shortly after, the country embarked on a nationwide tree planting and reforestation program, both to restore forest cover to exposed areas and to improve the aesthetics around the island through promoting decorative plants. McKeith George, who is in charge of the plant nurseries at the Forestry Division, says the efforts of the division, combined with the natural regrowth process, has produced good results.
Maria destroyed a good percentage of trees, but it also defoliate, and a lot of unnatural trees within the forest is growing back wisely. So in a forest species or forest location, you have secondary wildlings or seedlings, whatever you want to call, and they will be coming up after the canopy has damaged. So then we have that, and we also have man interpretation, where man go in and plant trees in the forest.
In addition to restoring forest cover and stabilizing the land, the reforestation process also serves another purpose, one which is beneficial to the wildlife.
We do a lot of that in forestry, where we plant forest species, and not just forest species alone, but we do fruit trees too. We do wild fruit trees like penny peas and stuff, which will act in the forest as a tree, but also feed the wildlife. So we're doing two purposes right there. We planting back the forest for carbon sink and for the forest cover over Dominica, also protect our watershed. And then we also, with the wild fruits, bringing them back so that they can feed our wildlife, such as the agoutis and whatever that in the forest.
The forest officer is commending the division and the wider Dominican public for their efforts to help restore forest cover, although the work is not yet done.
I'm very impressed from forestry standpoint because of the amount of manpower we have, because we all know in Dominica we haven't got the manpower and the resources that we need, but whatever we have, we work with it, and I'm very impressed with forestry.
And one of the many likely spin-offs of building an international airport in the Wesley area will be the construction of a new primary school. Concern has been raised that a new jet airport in close proximity to the primary school would be counterproductive in terms of the potential for noise problems.
It is not part of the consideration in terms of the 411 acres,
No,
but it is in close proximity to the airport, and there will be a concern with noise pollution, noise affecting the conducting of classes. And so there are two recommendations. One is to soundproof the building, and the other is to relocate. And the preferred option is to relocate. I personally agree with this. I mean, I've been to the West School. It's an old school, and I think if we build a new airport, we're building new homes, new roads. I think the parent will be very happy to have a brand new school. So I think I prefer to go with the second option of building a brand new school. And of course we have lands.
I was just about to mention that we have adequate land suitable for the purpose, so the land is not really an issue.
Regulations to make wearing of face masks mandatory are expected to be finalized by Cabinet this week. Cabinet has already approved the proposed amendments to the Environmental Health Services COVID-19 regulation drafted by the Office of the Attorney General. The SRNO to be gazetted this week will be titled the Environmental Health Services COVID-19 Amendment Regulations 2020.
And the first relevant provision will provide for the wearing of face masks or face coverings in public places, specifically whilst using a bus or other public transportation, taxi or other public transportation. B, in public buildings, for example, the government headquarters, financial center, and such like, and also supermarkets, retail, and wholesale commercial establishments. C, at bars or markets or similar businesses or places. D, in other public spaces, including parks, riverbanks, and beaches. So it was seen that it's quite an extensive requirement to wear a face mask or face covering. And the public is urged to comply and actually cooperate. The intention is not for there to be any widespread use of enforcement. The hope is that, as perhaps the majority of people have been doing up to now, that people will recognize the need to wear masks or face coverings for their own personal safety, but also to assist in ensuring, or to the extent possible, reducing the opportunities for spread to other members of the public and protecting our wider community and society and country as a whole.
Property and passenger bus owners must ensure that those entering their premises and buses are wearing masks.
Equally, a person who is the driver-operator of a bus or other public transportation will be required by law to ensure that those who enter and travel on that public transport wear a mask or face covering. Failure to do any of those things will, unsurprisingly, carry a penalty. But as I said earlier, the hope is that we as a people will cooperate and reduce the requirement for any enforcement activity.
The new regulations will also cover large public gatherings except in the case of churches and schools.
A large gathering in this context is described or defined as a gathering of 200 or more persons. The third element of new introduction is for a requirement to apply for permission to hold any gathering of more than 50 persons. That application will have to be in writing, and it will have to be to the Chief of Police. The person or persons wishing to hold such a gathering will have to, so that obviously will be a gathering of between 50 and 200 people. that person will have to indicate in their written application for permission to the Chief of Police, they'll have to indicate the purpose for the request, the application. They will obviously have to state their full name. They will have to state their home address. They'll have to state their telephone numbers, personal and, if appropriate, business. And should the Chief of Police require any other information, they will have to provide that information to the Chief of Police to have any opportunity of being granted permission.
And the Minister for Culture wants to see a more united and interdependent country as Dominicans continue to advance, or rather Dominica continues to advance as an independent nation. The nation has just celebrated its 42nd anniversary of political independence. Under the theme, Embracing New Opportunities, Minister for Culture and Community Development, Rosalind Paul, says her hope is to see Dominica continue to develop and thrive as a self-reliant nation.
Independence would mean that families are independent, communities are independent while interdependent. And the work that the government has been doing is to ensure that it improves the quality of life of families and communities so that more and more we can be self-reliant. And even in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, you would realize that we are better off than many other countries, even when our foreign exchange has reduced. So we want to be a nation that ensure that we become more productive, and this is being done through various projects.
Minister Paul identified the construction of an international airport as another project which can help Dominica further solidify its independent status.
You realize that the development first is one that is holistic, so that if you have an international airport, you need the business to go with it. So we have the hotel development, we have other aspects, we have the healthcare improvement, and we have the international airport coming, all of which are interrelated, that you need one for the other to work.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
Thank you for staying with us. Director of Primary Healthcare, Dr. Gilda Tong, says public mask wearing is most effective at stopping the spread of COVID-19 when compliance is high. Reducing the spread means reducing deaths and the economic impact due to the reduced cost of intervention. During the last COVID-19 health update by the Ministry of Health, Dr. Tong went through some important guidelines on wearing of face masks and shields.
There are different types of masks. Your N95 mask, surgical mask, and cloth masks. The N95, or the American Standard Mask, the equivalent in Europe being your FFP2, are recommended for health workers conducting aerosol-generating procedures during clinical care of COVID-19 patients. Important to note is that scarcity of N95 masks can occur, and as such are not recommended for non-medical personnel. These masks should be reserved for healthcare workers or frontline workers and first responders who work in more at-risk environments. The filtering capacity of your surgical mask is less than that of the N95 when conducting aerosolized procedures, but does an excellent job at providing droplet protection. The cloth mask, on the other hand, have some filtration capacity in the relevant droplet size range, as well as some efficacy in blocking droplets and particles from the wearer. That is, these masks help people keep their droplets to themselves. When wearing a homemade mask or a cloth mask, ensure that you always wear a mask with 2 or more layers to stop the spread of COVID-19. The mask must cover the nose and mouth and must be secured beneath the chin. Masks should be worn by persons 2 years and older, children under 2, or those without proper supervision should not be wearing masks. Those with trouble breathing should not wear masks, and those who need assistance to remove the mask or who have difficulty wearing their mask would require the proper supervision when wearing a mask. Face shields. The Centers for Disease Control does not recommend the wearing of face shields only. It is best that if you are to wear your face shield, that you wear a mask beneath.
Dr. Tong explains how you can determine whether your mask is safe.
Masks should contain 2 or 3 layers of washable, breathable material. Material such as vinyl is not recommended, and masks with exhalation valves or vents, which can allow the virus to enter, are not recommended. The mask should completely cover the nose and mouth. It should fit snugly along the side of the face and not have gaps. Be sure to wash your hands before putting on your mask. Avoid touching the mask when it is on the face. Do not wear the mask on the forehead or beneath the chin, and do not hang the mask from the ear, your arm, or your rearview mirror of your car. To remove the mask, carefully untie the strings behind the head or stretch the ear loops. Handle only by the ear loops or the ties. Fold the outside corners together, throw away disposable mask, or immediately wash the cloth mask with soap and water and place in the sun or a laundry dryer to dry. After handling of your mask, wash your hands. The science around the use of masks by the general public to slow the spread of COVID-19 transmission is advancing rapidly. Although earlier studies assumed that droplets were spread mainly through coughing, a more recent analysis has found that transmission through talking may be a key vector, hence the need for mask wearing, social distancing, and avoiding unnecessary mass gatherings.
And a plea to citizens to play their role in helping make the Dominica Red Cross the leading humanitarian organization here. Andrea Louis has more.
Reginald Winston was re-elected as president of the Dominica Red Cross Society last month and says one of his goals is to re-establish the Red Cross as the foremost entity which provides humanitarian services to the people of Dominica. Winston believes in order for this to happen, the people of Dominica need to get on board with the movement and help the Red Cross reaffirm its position in society.
We would like people to partner with us. We ask our local people to partner with us, and we invite them to help us to further these principles. No longer we want to see the Red Cross as just personnel who attend parades and help people when they faint and give medical attention when they are not well. We want the Red Cross to be fully involved in the community, alleviating human suffering, bringing solace where there is needed. When there is disasters, we want to be the first on the field, and we really want to involve ourselves and partner with the community to make the Red Cross the best humanitarian organization in Dominica and even further afield.
Winston highlighted volunteerism as one way in which communities and youth can get involved in the operations of the Red Cross.
We are always in need of volunteers as they are the engine of our movement, particularly the youth, to sustain the national society. We have branches in 10 communities, so persons wishing to join the Red Cross can do so at a branch closest to their location. We have always been working in our vulnerable communities by providing training to residents and establishing community disaster response teams in communities.
The Red Cross president pointed out that since the COVID-19 crisis, the institution has delivered varying forms of assistance to the vulnerable and will continue to help communities around the island.
Since COVID, we have distributed over 250 food packages and hygiene kits to people impacted by COVID, and another 240 have received $100 US. We are also providing training to fisherfolk and farmers in first aid as support to these groups. So far, we have trained over 60 fisherfolk and will be providing training to 100 farmers, mainly the women farmers from our community.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid. But there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
To end the news, a look at the headlines again. The Forestry Division delighted with the pace of post-Maria reforestation. Regulations enforcing mandatory wearing of face masks expected to be gazetted this week. And a new primary school for Wesley to avoid potential noise and other structural impacts from an international airport. You may access the news on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.